Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sound On episode 16. Steve, I cannot believe it.
16, almost to 20.
Almost a 20. Before more to 20. But as you can see, we have a new look once again. We told you may see some changes on the show as we keep on creating it.
Yeah, and that's okay because we just like to switch it up and make it interesting for people to watch.
Very interesting for this digital audience here. We have a lot on tap today, including Seattle's homicide record. There's now a new all-time high for the amount of homicides that have happened in the city. We've also had this crazy video to show you all at the Washington State Fair, this ride getting stuck, just what they had to do to get those people going on that ride.
That video just makes me nervous looking at. And then this interesting Reddit post that you might have seen about answers to travel days from hell when you're dealing with all these issues. How do you deal with those types of situations?
I don't know how I deal with them. I'm curious to see what people have to say about that. We're also talking about the appeal of eating Dick's burgers. You know, it's a local staple. Some people love it, some people hate them.
Now I'm craving burgers and fries and a milkshake.
We also have some great events to talk about. All right, should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay.
All right, it's time for Sound On. Here we go. Majors.
Here we go, Steve McCarron. All right, let's jump right into what's happening right now in our city. It's more on the serious side, but it's important to note because lots of people are talking about this.
They are, and it's a huge concern around the community. We're talking about Seattle now on track to break or get close to the city's record for the number of homicides in a year. And this really comes at a time when the police department is still dealing with a shortage of officers. And obviously, there's a lot of concerns within the community about these rising crime rates that are impacting so many neighborhoods. We had 2 suspicious deaths that happened on Sunday. And then you have this video here from this fire and apparent shooting that happened in the city's Wallingford neighborhood. 2 adults, 2 kids found dead after that shooting and that house fire. As of last Thursday, homicide rate was sitting at 50. And you'll remember back to last year when it was 52, back in 1994. So back, a couple decades ago, it was 69. And think about the time that we have left in the year. Still 4 months left in 2023. So we'll see what happens.
It is terrifying, Steve. And I think what's shocking for a lot of people is that these homicides, a lot of these crimes are happening in neighborhoods where you would least expect it. But it just goes to show, once again, that crime really does not have a zip code. But a lot of people talking about this on our website. We have over 60 comments right now on this. This person says, I wonder if the city leaders and those that have voted for them and supported the policies that have led us here are actually paying attention to what they have done. Do they even care? This is what you get for voting on soft crime. This other person, Kalukia1, says elections have consequences, and Seattle is a prime example of the liberal politics, policies, and judicial system which it has elected. So a lot of people want to see some change happening in our within our city, within our government, within the city officials. So what do you think needs to happen? Is it the city? Is it the county? Please leave us a comment. You can see our social platforms down there below. Let us know what you think.
I know that's one of the things that we hear a lot when we talk about crime issues around, the region and specifically in Seattle is you'll hear a lot of blame towards specific leaders. And then you'll also hear, the issue of the loss of police officers and this whole defund police movement that we saw a couple of years ago in the height of the protests that we saw in Seattle and across the country. 2 big issues, and this is really having an impact on what we're seeing across the city right now.
It's a really good point. I know across law enforcement agencies, they're dealing with staffing shortages and also just they're struggling to recruit people.
Yeah.
So
What's the solution?
Yeah, what is the solution? It could be anything, really.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Leave
Yeah.
it in the comments if you have an idea on how to fix that or how to address that issue.
All right, let's talk about another issue, Steve. This is why I don't go on rides at this is why I do not go on rides at fairs. Barely even amusement parks. Like I can barely go on a ride at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
But at the Washington State Fair, I don't know exactly when this incident happened, but I will say this TikTok video has gone viral in recent days. You can see these people stuck on this roller coaster here at home at the Washington State Fair.
Yeah, so this is a ride that we think is called the Wildcat. And this specific video that this person posted already has hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok, basically saying they were headed to ride this roller coaster, but then saw this what you're seeing on the screen when they got there. And the poster was saying they actually filmed this because they were so impressed with the team doing the rescue and how those in the car did their best to stay calm. I don't know about you, but if I'm in that situation, I would probably be freaking out a little bit. And I'm somebody who
Oh,
loves roller
oh,
coasters.
wow. I would be just scared. I mean, I'm afraid of heights for one, so that's why I don't get on roller coasters. But the fact that the crew just pushed them forward and the ride it continues to go.
It
So
just
all it
keeps on.
needed was a little push.
I don't know. I'd be freaked out, I think, if I was in that situation. And I've ridden a lot of roller coasters in my
Yeah.
life, but never been in that situation where you're kind of like stuck at the top, just being like, okay, can I get some help,
I
please?
hope that
Like,
never happens to you or anyone.
oh,
I'm glad they're okay. Those
yes.
people are okay. But yeah, that video getting a lot of hits. Steve, we talked about the fear a little bit last week,
Yeah.
and you said that you had covered them a lot throughout your career as a
So
reporter.
many times.
Do you think you're gonna go this year at all? Just for fun?
To the Washington State Fair?
Yeah.
Honestly, probably not.
That's okay.
um, it's not to say that I won't in the years, you know, that are coming up or I haven't gone
Right.
in previous years, but probably just because of stuff that's going on in my life right
I
now,
know.
I probably won't make it around this year,
Uh,
unfortunately, because it is really
Understandable.
fun.
Well, it goes until September 24th, I believe. I
Yeah,
could be wrong on that.
yeah.
September 24th. Yeah. Well, you have some time to go if you do change your mind. Do you have any summer trips planned? End of summer trips,
You
fall
know,
trips?
I'm in the midst of possibly planning one next month, but still
Okay.
TBD. Got to work on the finances, figure out if it's going to work. But I know a lot of people, even though school's back in session for a lot of people, some people are already thinking about the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that sort of thing. Have you ever had any sort of travel nightmare situation?
Nightmares, not so much nightmares, but I will say in the past couple weeks, I've had trips out of SeaTac Airport and I've dealt with massive delays. I was still able to get on my flight, but look at the crowds. I mean, this is what SeaTac has looked like in recent weeks. Summer vacation, Labor Day
Hmm.
just ended. And yes, you mentioned those holidays, travel plans are gonna start kicking off soon. So beat those long lines, get there early. I mean, that's my best suggestion. A lot of people talking about this on Reddit right now, how to beat travel days from hell.
I think we've all been in those types of
We've
situations
all
before where
been
you're
there.
like, okay, you've booked the flight, make sure all the timing is playing out just right and everything's fine, money's been paid, blah, 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 blah. So this person posted on Reddit recently, basically asking the question, besides sucking it up and paying those insane prices from premium seats or a lounge, what is your answers to travel days from hell? It's probably my biggest detractor for why I don't travel as much as I
Mm,
would. And then you can see some of the comments that people are leaving down here. So, direct flights when possible,
yes.
proper extended overnight layovers so you can sleep in a hotel, train
Mhm.
trips instead of flights when possible on those shorter legs. I think that's probably easier, particularly on the East Coast or maybe in Europe, where it's a little bit easier to get around in on the train. This person, Andy Bale, saying bring a book, bring a switch, bring a charger, bring a neck pillow, and then focus on what you can control
I
because
think
so
that's good
many of those
advice.
things are out of our
I
control.
was just gonna say, I was, dealing with a delay last week at a SeaTac because my flight was having my plane was having maintenance issues, and that's out of my control, but what can I
Hmm.
do in that time? I walked around SeaTac,
Yep.
I looked at some of the new shops they had put in, some of the new restaurants.
Yeah.
Bring a book, yes,
Yes.
entertain yourself.
Listen to some tunes or something. Or like this
Mhm.
person says, Clank75 says, my answer is chill.
Yes.
I mean that completely sincerely. I remember I was on a flight one time. This is like back in, I think right after high school, I went to Europe on like this 2 week trip, this band thing, because I was a band nerd at the time. And we were mid over the Atlantic Ocean, so like midway through the flight,
Mhm.
and then one of the engines crapped out, and we had to fly back to the
Mm.
East
Oh,
Coast before
no.
going back on our journey back to Europe.
I would cry.
I I remember one of my friends was freaking out a lot during that time frame, but I was like, we're still up in the air. It's fine. We'll get there. And we eventually did. It
Yeah.
just was a little bit later than what we were expecting.
Focus on what you can control. Leave
That's
us a
right.
comment. What do you do to beat these travel days from hell? I personally, like that one person said on Reddit, book those direct flights.
Hmm.
I don't like dealing with connections because you never know
No.
what's going to happen during that connection.
Yep.
Book direct flights if you can. Get there early.
And I sometimes, yeah, I get too nervous when there's like maybe an hour and a half between the two flights, right? There's a layover of
Yeah,
like an hour and a half or
yeah.
less. So as much as I hate sitting in an airport,
Mm.
I try to do it at least 2 to 3 hours just to have a little bit of a buffer. I
Mm.
know that takes a longer time
I
to
know.
travel, but
I know. I tend to live on the edge. I'm like, give me that 50-minute
you
layover. I'll
are.
run to the gate.
And you going to the airport too, I know it's like it makes me really nervous
I get sleep
sometimes.
anxiety whenever I have a trip. I get to the airport like 30 minutes before boarding, but it's okay.
Yeah, and
I'll
we
be
should know
fine.
you've never missed a flight though, right?
I have never missed a flight. Knock on
Knock on
wood,
wood.
because I don't
We
want to
have
miss
wood in the
a flight.
studio. I've never missed a flight either although
Good.
I always show up early, so
All
maybe that helps a
right.
little bit.
Okay. Okay. Let's keep both
Hey,
methods work.
preference.
It's all about
It's
preference,
all about
everybody.
preference. Yeah.
Speaking of preference, we've got another big topic that's been trending on Reddit these days, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you had a Dick's cheeseburger?
It's been a while. I'm overdue for one. I would say probably within the last 6 months.
Okay, okay. It's been a while for me too, but I think they're delicious. Of course, I'm a Washington newbie. I moved here
Yeah,
3 years ago, but when I first moved here, everyone was saying, "You need to go to Dick's. It's our staple here."
it is.
They just opened up that new location in Federal Way on July 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Great news for people down in South King County. I personally think it's good, but the big question here on Reddit is, what's the appeal of eating these Dick's
Oh
cheeseburgers?
boy, this is getting a lot of comments. Let's see if I can show you the screen here.
A lot of
A
people
lot of
weighing
people are
in
like,
on this one,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Steve.
whoa, whoa.
Because I guess they just, I don't know, is it a lot? I guess it has a reputation of it being, obviously it's fast food, but is it,
Inexpensive
is,
considering. Yeah, but it's fast food, it's local, and it's good. And this person's posting, what's the appeal of eating Dick's more than once?
more than once.
More than once. And this person says it's not good. It's no longer cheap. It's about 70% of the price of Five Guys and 200% the price of Burger King. Not a drive in. It's a walk up window.
That's my only downside, is that there's no drive-in, because I don't like getting out of my car sometimes. I'm like, ugh.
See, that's like the nostalgia of it. It's kind of like that throwback to the way it used to be, where you'd like drive up to a place,
Yeah,
you have to get out of the car, place your order.
I
It's kind of
understand.
like a
It's
destination.
like vintage.
Yes. I like what this person said. Mr. Falconer says, "Who uses Burger King as a barometer of good fast food?"
I would say Dick's is better than, much better than Burger King.
I would
Um,
too.
Another person says Seattle yam. I like this. I find it to be delicious. It's local. They treat their employees well.
Yeah.
The locations are in a good spot for me.
Yeah.
67 upvotes.
9 locations. And again, that latest one that opened up in Federal Way back in July. Nearby underscore director underscore 4021. Some of these names are so long
I
sometimes.
know.
What planet are you on? The cheeseburger is $3 and it's amazing.
I kind of want to go get one after work right now.
I kind of do too. I like their
Oh,
fries too.
yes. That
And the
sounds delicious.
shake.
And the shakes. Oh, dip the French fry in the shake.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
really
really
want one
good
now.
right now. But I do have some colleagues here at KOMO News and just friends who are from Seattle in general, and they say, we used to go to Dick's as teenagers or as in college, and
Yeah.
that's drunk food. That's late night food.
You'll notice where some of those locations are, right? On the U
Yeah.
District, and then there's one
Mhm.
on Cap Hill right along Broadway
For sure, right
for a
where
reason.
it's all strategically placed,
All
right?
strategic.
Well, let us know what you think. What is the appeal of eating Dick's more than once?
Yes.
Is there no appeal?
Maybe there's no appeal. I think there's a lot of appeals. I like the fact that it's local, it's fairly
Mhm.
inexpensive, it's good, and then you get the burger, the fries, and the shake, and you're
Mm.
just golden, all within like $10. Why not? All right, let's talk about something that is really going to impact folks. And I know that you've been watching this a lot lately in your traffic duties.
Yes.
Is this big, almost a week-long vehicle closure of one particular ferry route? So
Yes.
fill us in on this.
This is a big deal. For those who don't know, I do the weekday traffic on our KOMO Morning News Show. And yeah, we've been talking about this. This is going to be big. Let's see. Can you see the ferry site? Am I pulling it up in a proper fashion?
I got it.
I am.
It's up.
Take a look at this. I'll highlight it for you. 6-day vehicle closure of the Seattle Bainbridge route. That's starting today. So if you usually take that route, just know that it's going to be completely closed to all vehicles. That includes big trucks, small trucks, motorcycles, bicycles for the next 6 days. Once again, that starts today. And during this time, the Bainbridge Island Seattle route, they're only going to be operating on one boat schedule, and that's only for people who are walking on the ferry. So even if you're walking on that ferry, you're just going to want to get to that terminal a little bit earlier than you usually do. Did I stop sharing my screen? I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
There it
There we
is.
go.
Now I did. See,
And I
it's
think
a
this
little
is
clunky
like
still.
the most popular route, if I'm not mistaken, right? In
Oh,
the
for
system.
sure. For
Yeah.
people who go to work and school, and for people who work, yeah, for people who go there for fun, for leisure.
Yeah.
The Seattle Bainbridge Island route is a super important one. All of them are. In the meantime, you can use the Edmonds Kingston. I know it's a bit out the way, but WashDOT's recommending that route because they're going to have an extra boat on that route. So just check the alerts before you go. washdot.ferries.com/alerts. Why do I have that memorized?
I don't know. Maybe because you go to that site all the time.
Because I go to that site all the time. Go to that site just to check the alerts, make sure there are no like extra delays that you're going to want to know about.
Obviously, it's going to be a big impact, but I think maybe the good thing is if there's a good thing with this, is that it's coming when a lot of schools are already back in session. So there's not a lot of summer travel, but I mean, this is one of those most popular routes. So there's going to be a huge impact from that for sure.
We got some great events this weekend, Steve.
Yes, we do. And one that you are involved in, my friend. Yes. And I'm so excited about this because you did such a great job last year and you're involved with it again this year. And it talks about one of your favorite topics, fashion.
Fashion Week at the Bellevue Collection. This is the biggest style event in Western Washington. This is where you can see all the hottest fall trends on the runway. This is a 2-night event. There's the Friday night show, that is the trend takeover show. And then there's Saturday night show, that's September 9th. And that's the collective runway show where you can see more of those high-end fashion designers, Ted Baker, Kate Spade, that kind of thing. The cool thing about Fashion Week though at the Bellevue Collection, I sound like a spokesperson. They should hire me.
You are.
I'm really not. I just like it. And I did host it the past 2 years.
Yes.
This year I'm just attending. But what I was going to say is the cool thing about this fashion event is that all of the looks you see on the runway are from the stores at Bellevue Square.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's local in a way. And it really is like the most classy event I've been to here in the Puget Sound region. I mean, people show up and show out. So if you plan to go, be sure to dress to impress and get those tickets online. Yeah.
I have 2 important questions for you.
Okay.
Number one is, do you know what you're going to wear?
Steve, I'm going to the mall actually today after work.
To figure out what you're going to wear.
To figure out what I'm going to wear
tomorrow. Do you feel pressure to like up the ante
100%
when you go to this?
Because I'm hyping it up. I'm like, just to impress. So
yeah.
Who am I saying that if I'm not going to show up dressed to impress?
Like, what's the hot color going to be too? Like, I'm very interested to see what you're going to wear, and then like all these amazing fashions that are just awesome.
I'm excited too. It really is a great event. And I forgot the most important part. All proceeds go toward 2 really great nonprofits. Treehouse, which supports foster youth in Washington State.
Awesome.
And then there's another, I can't think of the name right now, but the second charity is it's focused on a arts and education program in the Bellevue area. So it's good events.
Yeah,
good
2 really good groups.
Good
and it's
groups.
For a good cause.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, you're going to see some amazing fashions too.
Exactly. Win-win for everybody.
Win-win for everybody. All right. Do you like cider? Like hard cider?
Love cider. Oh, wait. I'm actually going to this.
Are you really? I like that you were just surprised at something we were talking on the show.
Yes.
All right. So this is the 12th annual Cider Summit in Seattle. Tyrah will be there. So if you see her out and about with the group, go and say hi. This happens Friday and Saturday at Lincoln Union Park. This is right near Mohi. So this is pitched as the region's largest hard cider tasting event, 150 selections from nearly 50 producers. And get this, it is an outdoor event, rain or shine. I don't think it's supposed to rain this weekend. I think the weather's supposed to be decent, but I love me some cider.
Oh,
so
me
I'm
too.
Really excited about this one.
That's going to be fun. Yes, I totally forgot about this event. I've been texting about it in a group chat with some friends, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going. I did not get my ticket yet. Hopefully there's still time, but it's a 2-day event, just like Fashion Week. So
also, how about this? There's kind of a separate kind of side event that is cheese and charcuterie tasting that takes place on Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay. So you can get the cheese and the charcuterie, and then you can go have some cider.
You know, I'm a cheese and charcuterie girl.
I'm sorry, what? Charcuterie? That's what you call it? I do want to mention that requires an additional ticket though. So if you want to go to that, just note that you're gonna have to get a separate ticket to go to that one too. But
yeah,
that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a good weekend.
Great events. What a fun-filled show. Wow, Steve. We went for about 19 minutes.
All right.
You know, when I start saying weird things, it's time to end the show.
It is. Let's end that show right now. And then we will be back for episode 17 next week. Episode 17.
I can't believe it. Thank you all so much for your continuous support on the show. And just remember, this is a 2-part or 2-way conversation between us and you. So if you have an idea or topic you want us to talk about, please let us know.
Yeah, you see all of our social handles there on the bottom, and just leave us a comment, and we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.